Friends, today we will talk about taxes. Taxes on your return of investment. For example, अगर आप 1 लाख रुपया इन्वेस्ट करते हैं और वो अप्रिशिएट होके 1,30,000 हो जाता है, तो ये 30,000 पूरा का पूरा अमाउंट आपके पॉकेट में नहीं जाता है. देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड टैक्सेस विच यू मस्ट पे. तो अगर 30,000 में आपको 10,000 टैक्स देना है तो आपके पॉकेट में सिर्फ 20,000 जाता है. So you must consider post-tax return when you are planning your investment. After you arrive at your post-tax return, then you have to compare this amount with the inflation which is applicable to you. Suppose the inflation percentage applicable to you is 8% and you are making 10% from your investments, then your inflation adjusted return is mere 2%. So all these calculations are very vital when you are investing and planning to achieve your goals in future. Today we will talk about taxes, and my dear friends, in India taxes are not very simple. You must understand taxes are different in different avenues of investment. If you invest in equities, your taxes are different. If you invest in debt, you have to pay different amount of taxes. So you must understand, then only you will be able to take the right decision. Few days back, our new budget was presented and there were many changes made. So you must understand that also, so that you take a good informed decision. Okay, going further, जब हम इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो हम दो तरह के इनकम जनरेट करते हैं. पहला, इंटरेस्ट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, जब आप एफडी में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो आपको इंटरेस्ट मिलता है, लेकिन जब आप शेयर्स या म्यूचुअल फंड में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड कैपिटल गेन. नाउ कैपिटल गेन आर ऑफ टू टाइप्स, शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन एंड लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन. सो नाउ विद द हेल्प ऑफ माय एक्सेल शीट we will explain to you that which are the tax rates applicable to you, and they are also divided into short term and long term capital gains. Now friends, this is not very simple. It is bit complicated, and in my Excel sheet I have taken all the assets like equity, mutual funds, debts, InvITs, gold, all types of investments, so that this Excel sheet can give you a very good reference point. So now coming to the Excel sheet, you can see that my first sheet is about equity. Let us understand. So there is long-term capital gain, as you can see here, and also short-term capital gain. Now, talking about direct equity and equity mutual funds and equity oriented mutual funds, which are also called aggressive hybrid fund, all these are listed here. Now first we understand what are the tax percentage applicable to these three categories in the short term. Before that, we must also understand what decides between the short term as well as the long term capital gains. If you stay invested in equity and mutual funds for less than 12 months, the return generated comes under short term capital gain, and if you are invested for more than 12 months, it comes under long term capital gain. Now here you can see in the Excel sheet I have also incorporated what was the rate of taxes applicable before the budget which was presented on 23rd July 2024, and also the changes which this new budget brought in. For short term capital gain, the return was taxed at 15% for investments less than 12 months. This was changed to 20% after this budget. So now for short term capital gain, in case of direct equity, equity mutual funds and equity oriented hybrid mutual funds, now you have to pay 5% more after this budget. Now this new provision is applicable if you sell your investment after 27th July 2024. Now we will go to the long term capital gain. Earlier the taxes applicable were only 10%. The same has been increased to 12.5% after this budget. Earlier the exemption was only 1 lakh. Now it has been increased to 1.25 lakhs. Now what is this exemption? For example, if your invested money is 1 lakh and you generate an appreciation of another say 50,000, so your capital gain is only 50,000. Now this is within the exemption limit of 1,25,000. You don't have to pay any taxes. If the return is say 1,50,000 and the exemption limit is 1,25,000, so you have to pay tax at the rate of 12.5% only on 25,000. So as you see, the exemption limit has been increased from 1 lakh to 1,25,000, and this is applicable for all these three categories. So here we discussed about the tax implication as per the new provisions for the equity related instruments. Now we'll go to the debt part. So this is the debt part. In this, what is incorporated is your investment in bond, in NCDs, in fixed deposits, and debt mutual funds and debt oriented mutual funds, which are also called conservative hybrid fund. For all these categories, the taxes are very similar. Let us go one by one. In case of short term, earlier the bonds and NCDs and FDs were taxed as per slab, and it will continue to be like that. Similarly for mutual funds, these two categories, again as per the new provisions, they will be taxed as per your slab. If you fall in the highest slab of 30%, you will be taxed at the rate of 30%. If the tax slab applicable to you is only 15%, you will be taxed at 15%. Here, the tenure of investment is not important at all. We'll go to the long-term capital gain. What are the provisions over here? Here, if you see, as per the provisions which were prevailing earlier, your gains were taxed as per the slab, which will again continue to remain the same. Again, as per the new budget, your long-term capital gain derived from debt instruments will remain same and you will be taxed as per slab. Here you will see that if your investment is done before 1st April 2023 and you hold the investment for 24 months or more, then the return, the capital gain will be taxed at the rate of 12.5%. If your investment is done after 1st of April 2023, you will be taxed at the slab rate. So these are the provisions. And here one more important thing. Earlier there was a provision of indexation which took care of the inflation in the economy. But now the indexation has been totally removed from the Income Tax Act. After covering equity mutual funds, debt mutual funds, now we move to the other investment options. They are not very popular, but they are very important. Now coming back to our Excel sheet, there is equity FOF. This is equity fund of funds. Now these mutual funds invest in other mutual funds to generate returns. Now before the budget, these funds were taxed at the rate of 15% if sold within 12 months. Now the percentage has increased to 20% if sold within 12 months. This is effective from 27 July 2024. Coming to the debt FOF, which is debt fund of funds. Earlier they were taxed as per slab. Now it is 20% if sold within 24 months. Gold ETF are taxed as per slab. Even now they are taxed as per slab. Gold mutual fund as per slab earlier, as per slab now. Arbitrage fund, these are also a type of mutual fund which are not very popular. Now they are taxed at the rate of 20% if sold within 12 months. Earlier it was 15% only. Balanced advantage fund, the current tax rate is 20%. Now Here we talked about the short-term capital gain taxation. Now we'll go to the long-term taxation. Here we'll talk about the long-term capital gains. In equity FOF, earlier it was taxed at the rate of 10%. Now the rate has increased from 10 to 12.5% if sold after 12 months. And this is effective if you sell your instruments after 27 July 2024. Now again, like equity, the exemption limit has been increased from 1 lakh to 1.2 lakh. Debt FOF, the taxation was earlier done as per slab, but now the tax rate is 12.5% if sold after 24 months. Gold ETF and gold mutual fund and arbitrage fund. Here, if you see in the new structure, gold ETF and gold mutual funds are taxed at the rate of 12.5% if sold after 24 months. Arbitrage fund now taxed at the rate of 12.5% if sold after 12 months. So arbitrage fund is taxed very similar to the equity funds, and the exemption limit also applies here of 1.25 lakh. Lastly, the balance advantage fund. Here you see the earlier tax rate was 10% with an exemption of 1 lakh, but now it has been increased to 12.5% if sold after 12 months, and the exemption limit is 1.25 lakhs. Now we move to the other investment options. Here it is, back to the Excel sheet, REIT and InvITs. Now let me explain what is REIT. REIT is something like a mutual fund which invests in commercial real estate, and they generate return for the investors. Now these are not very popular in India, but still it is available. Now InvITs, these are infrastructure investment trust. Now they are also something similar to mutual fund which invest in infrastructure projects in India. Now in case of these two investment options, in short term, earlier it was 15% if sold within 12 months. Now the current provision is they will be taxed at the rate of 20% if sold within 12 months, effective 27 July 2024 when the new budget was presented. Real estate, which means flats and land which you purchase, earlier it was as per slab if sold within 36 months, that is 3 years, but now again it will be taxed at the slab rate, but if sold within 24 months. The tenure has been reduced from 36 to 24 months. In case of gold, again it is very similar to the real estate, as per slab if sold within 3 years earlier. Now if sold within 2 years, they will be taxed as per slab. Now this is all about the short term capital gain, the return which you gain in short term. Now coming to the long term provisions. So here it is how the taxation will work for you if there is long term capital gain. Now again, in case of REITs and InvITs, earlier it was 10% with an exemption of 1 lakh, very similar to equity, if sold within 12 months. Now it will be taxed at 12.5%, there is an increase of 2.5% if sold after 12 months, and the exemption limit has also been increased just like equity. Coming to real estate, earlier the tax was 20% if sold after 36 months with indexation benefit. Now what is indexation? Indexation is the benefit you get due to inflation. You buy the property long time back when the inflation was very low. Now with inflation, the purchase price of the real estate increases, so you get a benefit. So your gain reduces because of the indexation. So earlier there was indexation benefit if sold after 36 months and the rate was 20%. Now there is a change. The government has given option to the taxpayers. Now you can opt from the two options available. One is you pay 12.5% if you sell the property after 2 years without any indexation benefit. Or there is another option, you may opt to pay tax at the rate of 20% with indexation. Now this option is not available if the property is bought after 23 July 2024. Now here the taxpayer can opt whichever is more suitable to him. Coming to gold, earlier the taxation was 20% if sold after 3 years with indexation, but now indexation has gone. From here the tax is flat 12.5% if gold is sold after 24 months. So this is how the taxation will work here. Friends, here we come to the end of this video, and I am sure you will realize that इतना सारा data एक जगह पे आपको कहीं नहीं मिलेगा. And we have taken a lot of effort to cover all investment options in one place and put all the details about the taxation structure which is applicable now. This is going to be of immense use to you. We are tagging this Excel sheet in the description box below. You can download and keep it for your reference and planning purpose. And you must also share this video with all your friends who need this and who plan their investment. And please subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much.